Want a bigger bang for your buck next spring with your garden? It's time to get to work right now.
Rebecca Kolls shows us how you can protect your garden investments and watch them grow next year.
Gardening is not always cheap, especially if you've invested in summer tropicals like dahlias, gladiolas, caladiums, cannas, elephant ears, and tuberous begonias. These are actually considered tropicals, which means if we leave them out in the winter, they'll be goners. They can't tolerate a heavy frost. So if you're willing to roll up your sleeves, do a little bit of work and babysitting, we can dig them out, store them, and save them for next season. It's still a bit early to dig up summer bulbs in most areas, but once we get a frost or two, you really need to dive in. The browning foliage is the green light that it's time. I'm going to start with elephant ears. I can actually dig them up before the frost. They like it better that way. So the first thing I'm going to do is dig up the soil around the base of the plant. Now I don't want to get too close because I don't want to damage the bulbs. So I'll come out about 6 inches and just start loosening the soil and then gently pry it up. So what we want to do now is gently pry this apart. Look at that. It comes off very easily. And let me show you. See, we'll just kind of move the soil and you can see this is the bulb. This is what we're going to plant next year to get another one of these plants. So the next thing we're going to do is remove all this foliage. So I'm going to cut it down, leaving. So now this will die up and shrivel, but we'll want to watch it. We may need to remove more of it. But this is all we need to do. So I'm going to do it to the rest of the plants and then I'll show you how to store it. Okay. Oh, this looks really good. We got a couple of babies here, which are great. I'm going to leave them on. I don't want to cut them away, but this will be a nice plant for next year. All right, those are ready. We'll take this foliage and we'll put this in the compost heap. So here I've got a variety of different bulbs, and we call them bulbs even though some are corms, some are tubers. But here we've got some gladiolas, these are corms. We've got the elephant ears, and then I pulled out some of my cannas. Now what you want to do next is make sure all the foliage is removed, so we'll just simply cut everything out, and then we're going to lay these out on a cookie sheet and store in a dry location because we want the bulbs to cure. What that means is we want them to develop a tough skin before they go into storage. After they've cured, you'll notice some of the foliage will have died back even further. Go ahead and cut that apart, shake off any of the loose soil, and then you have two options. You can either wrap them in newspaper or you can place them in a box to which you've added peat moss. The key is we don't want the bulbs to touch each other. That way, if one starts to rot or gets moldy, it won't affect the rest of the plants. So, whatever method you choose, just be sure to mark the box where the bulbs are, and then we're going to store this in a nice, cool, dry location. Temperatures have to be above freezing, but they should be around 40 degrees. So usually a room by the garage is really the best place to do this. Now during the winter, I like to take a peek at my bulbs to see if any of them are shriveling. If they are, just mist them with a little bit of water. Otherwise, just babysit until next spring, and when the temperatures are warm enough, we start the planting season all over again. Staying safe in the garden, I'm Rebecca Kolls.
Make sure to check out Rebecca's Instagram page for more of her DIY gardening tips.
See in the upper corner that green tomato salsa Rebecca made over the weekend? I was doing the same thing, Katie. All those green tomatoes out of the garden. Had to rescue them because the frost was coming.
I know.